Hey guys, I'm here. Andy and Terry's here as well.
Thanks, Brendan. I'm gonna start right at 2:30 because I'm gonna have this recorded. So anyone that wants to watch it can watch it at a later date. So I'm not gonna hang out for, 5+ minutes waiting for people to join. Um, we do have a couple more minutes to go, so I will give that before we start. I did send out an email so everyone has a PDF version of what I'm sharing on my screen right now. Aaron, I'm gonna make you a co-host so that you can let people in while I'm talking.
All right, sounds good.
Hey guys,
Hey, Brett.
sorry about the delay.
You're good. We're gonna give one more minute, then we're gonna kick off.
Yeah, Brett, you and I will have a conversation offline.
Sweet.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and kick things off, and I'm sure people will continue to join. Again, this will be recorded and put on YouTube. It'll be public for probably 48 hours, and then we'll put it to internal view only. So unless you have the link, you won't be able to view it. It won't be searchable or viewable to the public. So I did send out a PDF version of this to everyone's emails if you want to follow along, but this is the agenda for the call today. There's a couple big announcements and then some side announcements, and then I'm happy to do Q&A at the very end. So I wanted to kick off the town hall by going over some of the strides that we've made this year as a system, which includes Brandon drove to Iowa this weekend to open our 50th location in Fort Madison, Iowa. That store is one that kind of fell into our laps by happenstance, but it's store number 50, which is a huge mile marker for us as an organization. Of the 50 locations, 30 of them are franchise locations, and of the 30, 12 have opened in the past 6 months. So we've been making huge strides on getting people open in various different ways, whether it's through acquisition, conversions, or of course, some of the folks on this call have built buildings from scratch. We're currently on pace to do over 200,000 oil changes for the year as a system, which is almost double what we've ever done in any year annually. And through different efforts with some of our partners, we've helped raise over $10,000 this year for different anti-bullying causes, which some of you know is the choice of fundraising for me and the cause that I like to get behind. We currently employ over 200 people system-wide between all of our stores, and that is a huge mark as well, because in a time right now where it seems to be changing, and I guess it depends on which way you look at it, changing in our favor or changing against, labor is becoming a little bit tighter these days. So the big announcement for this town hall, and probably the reason why I'm doing this town hall, is to announce that I've bought out all the shareholders in the company, which includes Michael Abdi, it includes the Fran Devco folks, it includes some of the previous folks who had equity in the business. And honestly, this is the I put in this PDF that I'm betting big on you guys, because I really scrimped and put together every single penny I could possibly get in order to do this, in order to buy out the shareholders. It was a large number. And so I would not have leveraged my children's future, my own future, if I didn't believe in you guys and what we're trying to achieve here. And so I have no other shareholders, I have no other board members, I have no one to kind of implement how they think things should be. And I think that for what we're trying to do and for what a lot of you have signed up for, this is going to be a huge step towards in the right direction, in my opinion. And so that actually took place over a month ago, nearly 2 months ago. One of the reasons I waited to announce it was I wanted everyone to I wanted to have the high ground to say, hey, things haven't, derailed in the past 2 months. And so I didn't announce it when it happened. I waited a little bit to make sure that everyone felt like there was continuity. But it did take place. And so that is probably the biggest thing that we could be talking about right now. Which a lot of folks, I'm sure, thought it was going to be the complete opposite, that we sold to Valvoline or sold to Take 5 or something. It's actually the complete opposite, the other way. I'm betting very big on our business and our business model. From this will come some staffing changes. We are going to move from being, and this will come in later parts of the announcement as well, but less franchisee and more oil change-y. We're going to commit to hiring more oil change folks and have more oil change, quick lube related knowledge in our back office, and less about franchising and less about things that don't have to do with the oil change business. We have promoted Brandon to COO. And if any of you have met Brett, who we were able to poach from Strickland Brothers. I've moved him from the corporate stores, and I have moved him to the franchise side of the business. As of right now, the entities are still split, but it will be a more traditional franchise system where there are corporate stores and there is the franchisor. So Brett is being moved from the corporate stores to the franchise side, and he's being promoted to CSO, which is Chief Strategy Officer. Brett's role in operations will move from kind of less day-to-day stuff, which is more, I believe, Brandon's bread and butter, to strategic involvement with franchisees and project management to get stores open. He's already done this in several different ways by finding sites for folks behind the scenes that we're either winding down through ownership retirement or things of that nature. And so a lot of his time will be put towards project management and site development and taking over a lot of the project management from Terry. So rolling into the next announcement, we are moving David out as COO, and he is open to consulting with anyone on franchise means. One of the reasons we brought him in was his franchise experience. Again, when we get to the different part of this conversation, we'll talk a little bit about the direction we're going to go with franchising. And Terry as well, he has made it very clear that he's willing to take phone calls. He's not going to just disappear. But again, we want to move towards being a more oil change centric business back office rather than top heavy with franchise specialty employees. Aaron's role is going to be redefined. He is going to be more involved with finding sites and working with winding down Morrow Hills catalog of sites and working more towards connecting with independent quick lube owners as they, wind down their businesses. We are going to probably start sharing more numbers internally with the system. And as some of you have seen, Bob Stadel in Lancaster took over a site that propelled to the #2 volume store in the system overnight. And it was basically a site that Brandon and I had put some work in on, and Bob put a lot of work in on it, and just through sheer perseverance, we were able to get the site. And he day one was doing 250 cars a week, which made it the second highest volume store behind North for sales. So that's something that Aaron is going to be more involved with. We also have just added a new employee to the corporate side, and he starts on Monday. His name's Justin. He's a graduate of York College, which is in York, Pennsylvania, and a couple of years removed from York College, and an entry-level position. We're going to use him to help with the corporate stores and be kind of a field admin and deal with taking some of the stuff off Brandon and Brett's plate that they deal with on a day-to-day basis with the corporate stores, so that Brett and Brandon can be almost solely focused on the franchise locations and unit level economics. So just to kind of bow tie what our bigger goal is going to be is get stores open, increase AUVs, which is average unit volume. And so that's kind of the mantra we've been saying at the back office for the past 2 months since I bought the business back, was increase AUVs, get stores open, increase AUVs. And that's, we are repeating that ad nauseum here in the office. A lot of you have worked with Deb. We want to get her more involved. As some of you know, Deb is a house master franchisee. And so we were using her kind of sparingly. We would love to get her more involved, and that's something we're going to talk to her about, and what her capabilities are, because she has been invaluable to the social media side of things for the system. And we are, like I said earlier, we're committed to adding more oil change folks. We want to add more business coaches for site visits. And we're also going to get the corporate employees more involved as well. So, early on we had Daryl and we had some of these guys do some site visits, and I think they were super productive. Brett put together a brand new site evaluation sheet that we're going to be using. And so, when needed and when requested, we would like to send some of our more senior corporate employees out to sites to do site evaluations and have constructive conversations about what we believe is the best path forward. And that will roll into another part of this conversation in a second as well. Vendor announcements. We're going to move away from Hawkeye. Now, the positive side of this is all Hawkeye is a private label, white label SaaS product. There's nothing proprietary about it. And after reviewing the contract we have with Hawkeye with my counsel, there's actually a provision in there that the company who actually makes Hawkeye's product will take us on. So we're not going to lose any of the Hawkeye capabilities, but we are going to sever ties with the Hawkeye team, which in my own personal opinion, I haven't seen much value out of them anyway. If anything, it's kind of distracted some folks and dragged things out in terms of getting stores launched. And so anyone who wants to continue to work with them is free to. We're not going to stop that. But as far as me putting my endorsement on them as a organization, I'm no longer in a position where I feel as though I can say that that's someone I would like to align with. We're going to reconnect with Napa. They were in the middle of a transition themselves when we first started talking about the partnership. We've still been using AutoZone, but AutoZone has not really been giving us the pricing that we've wanted, especially in conjunction with the moves we just made with Chevron and getting our oil pricing down. And so if we could, and we're going to funnel everything through the corporate stores first before we launch, and that kind of leads into Chevron. All of the corporate stores have been onboarded with Chevron. I know some of the franchise locations have been onboarded with Chevron. But thus far, between their Chevron business point and the additional resources that they provide, this has been going really well so far. Chevron is one of the largest corporations in the entire world. So there have, of course, been some kinks with terms of bureaucracy and trying to get things done fast. But once things are ironed out, it does work really smoothly. All right, so from a franchise development standpoint, we are ceasing all outside sales of franchises, meaning that we're not going to use brokers. We're not going to have a relationship with Fran Devco. We are not going to openly go out into the country and seek out new franchisees. We are going to promote internal franchisees buying. Terry and Andy Sullivan of Iowa are with Brandon right now. Their store in Newton, Iowa has been a fantastic store. We're hoping that they buy the Fort Madison store so that they can own the entire Iowa region. And that's the kind of stuff that I think makes a much more sustainable franchise system, is when internally we make those kind of partnerships happen. We will entertain organic sales, meaning if someone messages our Facebook page or they message our internal chatbot and they say, hey, I own Joe Schmo's Quick Lube, I would like to convert it to a Costa oil. We will entertain that as long as they're on board with our business model, which leads to the next part of our announcement. I want to reiterate today that we are fully committed to the oil change model. And it's very important for us to all stay on that path. We are going to make an exception for a handful of services that we previously had not approved of. And these are going to be blanket approvals, meaning you don't need to come to us for this implementation, but we're not going to assist with the implementation. And that's going to be tire rotations, state inspections, and AC recharges. So those services, those three services, we are now giving blanket approval for those services to be done. For tire rotations, if you want to go out and seek a scissor lift from one of the vendors, I suggest going through the National Oil and Lube magazine. Please do not reach out to our team internally about implementation of that. It's not something that we are going to do corporately, but we do also understand that we want to expand people's horizons and ways of increasing top line revenue. And it's been especially evident during the ramp up period that there's been, for a lack of a better way of saying it, there's been a lack of patience for the ramp up period, and we're sympathetic to that, but we don't want to throw the model out the window. And so that's why we talk about the ramp up period as much as possible, so that we can get everybody mitigate their expectations up front. But when things are slower and you are doing 6-7 cars a day, without sacrificing bay time and without sacrificing the overall model, we think that state inspections, tire rotations, and AC recharges can be a way to increase that top line revenue. Now, secondary services that we will entertain, but we would want permission first, and we would have to sit down and actually have a conversation with you. Different fluid exchanges, that's going to be transmission fluid exchanges, coolant exchanges, things of that nature. It would take a
You want to
large,
listen to this? Or
it would take a large investment on your part because the equipment is not cheap, and it's not something that we had entertained in the FDD, the item 7. So that would definitely be an investment, but you know, some of you may be interested in that. On to the next announcement. So, you know, we've been dealing with the Carbon Tech folks in Pakistan, which was brought in by Michael Abdi when he bought into the franchisor. They built out find.costoils.com using the motor.com databases and the open APIs from the Department of Transportation. We have listened to all of your feedback. We want to make it as good as possible. There is ongoing maintenance that is necessary, especially as more stores open. And now that we've crossed 50 stores that on a daily basis are using this website, sometimes, you know, up to 50, 60, 70 times a day, depending on the store. We do have to increase the tech fee to 149 so that we can increase the server capacity to make that website faster, so that when everyone's pulling from that same database that is licensed to us, we don't have some of the problems that we've encountered in the past couple months. And then the last announcement is we do plan on holding a convention this year. It's going to be in Tampa, Florida. We don't have a set date yet, but this is something that is mentioned in the franchise agreement. I don't know if JP is on the call. JP is our fractional CFO. He has sent out a authorization, ACH and debit card authorization. We do want everyone to have the ability to pay royalties with ACH, but he will also be sending out the convention invoice sometime in the next probably three months. And we haven't come up with a price yet on what that will be. We need to get some of the dollar signs on what it will cost to put up the convention, and invite everybody to come participate in that so that we can celebrate milestones, give recognition to franchisees and employees, and really get together and talk about what we think is the future of this business. And so, you know, just to go back to our original conversation, I've never believed more in this business. I've never believed more in this industry. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done what I did. And happy to do one-on-one calls with anyone that wants to talk about it and get into the details. I'm an open book. You guys know I'm as transparent as possible. But for right now, if anyone wants to do Q&A in front of everybody, I'm happy to do that as well for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes or however long it takes to answer everybody's questions. So I don't if you just want to raise your hand using the chat feature, then I'll just call you out and you can ask a question rather than just go rapid fire. Mitch.
Costa, congratulations. I'm super excited for you, and I appreciate your investment and your faith in the system. We also have faith in you as our leader and in the system, so thank you and congrats.
Oh, I know you were. I know you were worried. You probably thought we were selling them to Take 5 or something.
No, I was not. Where'd you get that? Not at all. I'm super geeked for you. That's awesome. And like I said, we do still have, you know, several times a week system issues with the Find website. So hopefully we can get that improved with the added tech fee and more bandwidth. I think that'll be great. And also I just wanted to I'm excited about the whole direction with the strategic officer, with Brandon's new role, Brett's new role. It's just all really good. I think we're all going to benefit greatly from that. So thanks for your reinvestment and for your support.
Thanks, Mitch. Armand?
Hey, Costa, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm interested to hear more about why we're not promoting selling more franchises and whatnot through uh, Frandesco or um, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, so what it comes down to is I want our internal team's focus to be on increasing AUVs, getting stores open. And while I do think we could go out there and sell a ton of franchises, that's a huge drain on my time, the team's time, and frankly, money-wise as well. Holding discovery days is, even when we do them here at the office, they're expensive. And um, I've got a large debt to service now as well. So to be completely transparent, I also have to be cognizant of the interest payment that I'm making on the loan that I took out to buy the business back. So I felt as though, having a retainer with Friend Devco and having to try to, if we sold another 50 units, that's another 50 people that we have to try to get open, and that spreads everyone just a little bit thinner. Right now, with as many stores as we have open and with as many stores that we have leases signed and as many franchisees that we have under LOI, I feel like we are in a really good place in terms of having our arms around the system and not spiraling to a place where not everybody can get the attention they need.
Okay, I like it. I was just wondered what was behind it, but that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, and like I said, we're still gonna, we'll still sell territories to anyone on this call, anyone who's in our system. And then strategically and organically, the economics behind the franchise fee, we barely would make a couple grand on a $55,000 franchise fee if we sold it using a broker system, which is, you think about it, it's actually insane. Whereas if you sell it organically, you get to keep the entire amount, and it's a dramatic difference. So that's why we'll still entertain any organic sales.
Good.
All right, if no one else has any questions, or if anyone wants to message me individually and doesn't want to ask in front of everyone, that's perfectly fine as well. This video will go up on our YouTube channel shortly. Ben, how you doing, Ben?
Good. Sorry, it took me a minute to find the damn hand. Is there any plan of creating or thinking about the creation of like a manager training course where we could send managers to corporate to get like a, indoctrination?
Yeah, so there's actually already a mechanism for that in the franchise agreement. I believe it's $500 to have someone come out and do a site visit, and it's not specifically for managers, but what I have found is, especially sending Brett or Brandon out, and again, I literally just had talked to my top internal territory managers about their willingness to travel to stores to do that exact type of training that you're asking about. You know, I believe I'll check the FDD or the franchise agreement. I think it's just $500 for a site visit. And that really just goes towards putting up the employee in a hotel and compensating them for their time and meals.
Okay.
Now I do, the Chevron Business Point portal, Brett, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, but the resources on that system will be extremely helpful as well, especially for product knowledge and sales training, which at the end of the day, what we have found as we've gone into different stores that either had car count that was not where the franchisee wanted it to be, or the return customers just didn't seem to come back. It had or the ticket average wasn't where they wanted to be. It traditionally just had been around the employees that were hired and just not being able to get somebody who represented the service in the way that we needed to be represented, because There's a lot of options out there. And so, if you have a grumpy employee that doesn't, treat people right, then people are going to choose to go somewhere else. And, I know that's a very simple answer, but, sometimes that is really all that it takes. Brett, you want to speak to the Chevron Business Portal real quick on the resources it provides?
Absolutely. Hey everyone. Congratulations, Costa and Brandon as well. This is really exciting news, and I'm excited to see the direction that we're going. Some of the great benefits of the Chevron Business Point, not only is the ease of ordering your product, but they have an oil university or a lubricant university that just high level will allow any employee, including operators, to educate themselves with the benefits of each product on how it benefits our customers. And I think that's a very beneficial tool when it comes to increasing your net sales and ticket averages. Very, very user friendly.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. Anyone else before we close this out for the weekend? Hopefully everyone's having a good first week of summer. I know that our car counts are up this week, and this Friday so far today has been really busy across the system. Armin?
Yeah, can I get off topic a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
So my Gulfport location, sales are somewhat slow over there. The household per capita is quite low in the Gulfport area. Has any of your stores ever just dropped their prices for like full synthetic to $59.95, or like a really lower price than we're used to around the country?
Yeah.
Just to bring in,
Yeah, that's a great question, and can lead to a really good conversation, because especially with our new pricing with Chevron, the 0W20 is $8.99, and as 020 becomes produced more, the price of it will only go down. And so if we get to the point where 020 is, $7 a gallon, I know that there are quick lubes out there that pay, $10, $12, $15 a gallon for synthetic blend. And so kind of the dirty little secret in the quick lube space, which, full synthetic hasn't existed always, but when full synthetic first came out, there was a lot of pricing parity because not as much of it was made. When your cost per gallon is only $1 more than the synthetic blend, how do you justify the price difference being $40? Well, it's just something that the industry has always done. And so we actually recently tried an experiment at our North for Sale store, and we're going to dive into the data, but we did a flat $50 oil change. So all oil changes, regardless of what you took, were $50, and we did that for a full month. We haven't dove into the numbers yet. We know that the car count is high. North for Sales is the highest car count store we have, and we're going to look into, what impact doing $50 oil changes had. But to deviate away from the good, better, best model is definitely creates a need for educating the customers who are much more used to the industry standard of the 5 quarts and a spin-on filter. So that being said, now that combined with having a brand name like Chevron and Havoline, I know one of your concerns, Armin, when we first started having conversations about pricing was that if we price too low, do people assume that we're putting junk in their cars? And so by using a brand combined with low pricing, I think you can combat that a little bit. But, historically, our full synthetic was $62.95 up until 2020 basically, and then we went to 64, and then we went to 69, and then when pricing got a little out of hand, we went to 80, 84 at some of the stores, but I think most of our stores are still at 79. But I don't have a problem with a $59 full synthetic, especially when your cost is $8.99 per gallon. You should be able to make money on that if you're doing volume. Holly?
Hi, congratulations on everything. This is really exciting news. So since I just opened and I was just going to get started with Hawkeye, now I'm not sure what to do.
So
So
yeah,
if you could kind of walk me through what the plan is for that to get
Yeah.
the services that we are getting through Hawkeye.
so Hawkeye is still an independent company that will continue on and will have other clients outside of us. The only difference is going to be I am going to terminate our agreement as the franchisor with them, and we're no longer going to, have any kind of affiliation with them. That doesn't mean that that you don't have to continue on with them. You can move forward with their services. The pricing should remain the same. I haven't had a conversation with Ryan yet, and the timing of the town hall kind of creates this limbo that you're alluding to, and so a lot of it will be worked out. But as of right now, I would say just continue as normal, and just get everything set up. We're going to actively be seeking other options. I know some people are already working with David Lee. Brandon, I don't know, do you want to speak to David Lee as an option, as opposed to the Hawkeye platform?
Yeah, I can. So some of you already know about David Lee. We put it in Slack a couple weeks ago, actually, I think a couple months ago at this point now. But he's been working with a couple different franchisees doing Google ads, pay per clicks, also Facebook and Instagram marketing as well. So he's also another good resource to use, especially Holly, if you've just started out, you want to get started in that aspect and get those going out. The biggest thing that I would say that Hawkeye really brings to the table that we will be able to emulate going into this new software that we're going to be using is the automations. And I know that Ralph has been a huge proponent of that. Jonathan Wilcox has been using it. A lot of other franchisees as well, automating reminders, automating service reminders, review requests, and all of that. We're going to be able to pretty much laterally move that over once we get this new software going. But in the meantime, if you wanted to focus on growing AUVs as far as using Google, using Facebook, Instagram, that's where I would start.
Yeah, and to refer to it as new software, and I know Brandon is using new in terms of like it'll be a new provider. It's actually the same exact software because Hawkeye just private labels it and sells it as their own thing. And so the automation part, which we do see a ton of value in, we really like the automation part of it, especially tied to the website and everything. That will continue on with the parent company that actually is the creator of the software. So there will be continuity there. But in terms of the Google ads and Facebook ads, we believe David Lee is the better solution for the time being until we find either an internal solution or another firm that I will vet personally to make sure that they're in line with how we think is the best way to grow car count.
Thank you. That helps a lot.
All right. Awesome. I hope everyone has a good weekend and thanks for jumping on. And if anyone wants to shoot me an email or send me a DM on Slack. I won't have any internet this weekend. I'm all moved into our house in Maryland and I'm at the office right now, but starting today, I'm full-time moved back to Maryland because wanted to make my wife happy and be closer to her parents. And so I've got enough on my plate that I don't need to have other things to deal with, like living in Pennsylvania when she doesn't really like Pennsylvania. So I will be available back on normal schedule Monday with our Monday morning postcards and the newsletter and all that fun stuff, and back to putting my head down and making sure that we make this thing the best thing we can. So appreciate everyone's time.
Yeah, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. I'll be back in the office Monday, so business as usual then.
Thanks, Brandon. That's
Great.
right, Mitch. Happy wife.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.